Hello and welcome to Legalese. My name is Vincent Perryman and I am a local attorney with the law offices of J. Vincent Perryman. Each month, Legalese focuses on a wide range of legal issues and topics. Today's show covers business entities. With us is Gus Wilson, local CPA. Gus, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
You and I a lot of times help a lot of different people come in and decide what sort of business entity they want to form when they've got an idea for a business. And we tend to always use a metaphor of the business road when we're doing this business planning. And we always talk about when we select the entity, it's sort of like the vehicle that you want to drive as you go along the road, and your advisors are the road crew sort of paving that road for you to have smooth sailing. So I guess we should start off with what the different varieties are and maybe what your reasons are for choosing one variety over the next.
That's correct. One of the most important things to touch on is that the road crew is a highly necessary feature of any business entity selection. By road crew, of course, we're talking about your accountants, your business advisors, your lawyers, CPAs, anyone of that ilk who can assist you in choosing the right entity. And there's many business entities to choose from. It's a very thorny situation, and it's better to have the advice of people who do it for a living, to cover all your bases, so to speak. Just real briefly, we'll cover the major ones. Sole proprietorship, which is just you, essentially. You have partnerships, which would be you and a couple of your buddies. You have S-corps, which is like a C-corp, only you have a bunch of shareholders, but not too many. And then you have a C-corp, which is just, you see these big corporations everywhere, and most of them are going to be C-corps. It's a, kind of a rock-solid type entity. And then you have the hybrids, which are like the LLCs and the single-member LLCs. And if you want to continue the analogy, like you were saying, is that each of these can be equated to a different type or style of vehicle. Your sole proprietorships are agile, very easy to maneuver, so you would call those more like a sports car. Not real safe, but easy to set up, easy to use. Partnerships and LLCs, something more functional like a sedan, a minivan. And then you got your S-corps and your C-corps, which will be bigger, full-size SUVs, tanks, and so to speak.
And I guess one of the things that we might need to back up and state are, there's business purposes and tax reasons, and then there's other reasons why you might pick one entity over the other.
That's correct. The two key issues for business entity selection are going to be taxation and business risk. And you're the lawyer, so you understand pretty much everything there is to know about risk, I hope. But risk is something that affects each and every one of us every day. You could be driving your car and get in a wreck, and you're liable. You could be running your business, and something could happen that's outside of your control, and you're liable. So there really is significant thought that needs to be put into your entity just to cover all your bases.
Mm-hmm. And I guess with that, it all becomes what our risk threshold is that we're comfortable with.
That's correct. Some people are born gamblers. Some people aren't. Some people prefer the safety of different types of entities, and some people choose to use insurance to mitigate some of their risk. And it all just depends on what your comfort level is.
Okay, and then with the different entities, those all differ from state to state, right?
That is correct. The one you really have to watch is the single-member LLC. It is offered by some states, Tennessee being one, but it is a disregarded entity for federal tax purposes, which means that it is only created at the state level. So once again, I can't say this enough, check with your advisors and make sure that you can form a single LLC in the state that you want to form it in.
Mm-hmm. So I guess to go back with the analogy, if you're a single individual and you just open up shop and you do business without creating an entity, that puts you in the sole proprietorship there. So let's discuss that briefly.
Sole proprietorship has certain benefits. One being that they are very, very flexible, and there's no issue of taxation except for at the individual level. When you decide to go in business for yourself, there's not a whole lot of paperwork you need to do. Obviously, you need to register to do business in the state that you decide to do business in. If you have employees, it's required that you do get a federal ID number now, but in the past you could just operate using your Social Security number. you still can do that, provided that you don't need a bank account for the business and you don't have employees. The issue of taxation, of course, since you are the entity, you're paying taxes based on your rate of tax. So you just file on your regular old 1040 just like you would normally. You use a Schedule C, and Schedule C just lists all your income and all your expenses. Very simple to do, but once again, be very, very careful. There's lots of tricks, lots of rules, lots of regulations, and it's always good to have a CPA look over your shoulder and make sure that you're filing it correctly.
Okay. And to clarify too, what's going on your Schedule C is your business expenses and your business income. A lot of folks try to cobble some personal stuff in there, which may or may not be a legitimate business expense.
Yeah. Well, in the past, there's been a lot of abuse in the Schedule C, and the IRS has made it a point to say that the abuses in Schedule Cs are beginning to be curtailed. Essentially, they're really going after abusive Schedule Cs, and they can tell. They have methods of figuring it out, and they've pushed it back onto the tax preparer as well. In that the tax preparer has to make sure that they cover all their bases, ask the right questions, and make sure they're recording all the income that is due to the IRS to pay taxes on.
Okay, and then should you grow over time? If you start off as a sole proprietorship, are you always stuck in a sole proprietorship?
Once again, any of these entities, you're never stuck in an entity. It might be costly to change entities, but a sole proprietorship is fortunately one that is not hard to change. You can segue very easily from a sole proprietorship into a single member LLC, or if you have a partner or someone that you'd like to bring in as a partner who is either running a similar business or has some expertise that you would like to rely on, very easy to draft a partnership agreement, form a partnership.
Okay. When we return, we'll continue our discussion about business entities. Please stay with us.